Hey everyone, and welcome back to the GetwellbeBe podcast. This podcast is designed to arm you with the knowledge and awareness you need to get and stay well your whole life. Before we get started, remember you can read the written version of this episode with research links over at getwellbe.com, where you'll also find information about the WellBe non-toxic product database and our other programs, including A Roadmap to Healing, which is a program I co-created with the Heal documentary team about how to use your mind, spirit, and other tools like food to heal chronic health issues. Okay, now let's jump into the terrifying, daunting, but hugely important task of discovering your purpose and being able to simply articulate it, and most of all, to live it. So I just celebrated my birthday, and as I've been doing the past few years, I'm using the milestone as an opportunity for some reflections and a chance to revisit my purpose in life and make sure I'm actually living it day to day. It's one thing to be able to say something lofty about what you're doing here on earth. It's another to make sure that your actions each day actually reflect that purpose statement. If the idea of discovering your purpose in life is terrifying and daunting, you should know that there are two major physical health benefits to doing so. Research, which I'll get into in a minute, shows that people who can find their purpose in life live longer and overcome life-threatening diseases more than people who can't or who haven't. Discovering your purpose can also make you feel happier and more excited to get out of bed each morning. But since I'm a holistic patient advocate dedicated to your health empowerment, the longevity bump and the disease healing benefits that come from discovering your purpose are a huge driving factor for me to go deep and figure out exactly what my purpose is and then make sure my daily actions reflect it. One of my favorite research studies is the Blue Zones, a National Geographic project that examined the 5 hotspots of longevity throughout the world and identified the similarities that helped people who live there live to over 100 with little to no chronic health issues. One of the things the Blue Zone researchers found was that this concept of knowing your purpose or knowing why you wake up in the morning is an integral part of most Blue Zone cultures. Some cultures even have their own word or phrase for it. The Okinawans, which is one of the 5 Blue Zones in Japan, call it Ikigai, and Nicoyans in Costa Rica, which is another Blue Zone, call it Plan de Vida. Another study found that discovering your purpose added up to 7 years to your life and reduced the risk of death by 15%, controlling for other factors like age, gender, and emotional well-being. So why is this? Well, a lot of research has shown that stress causes chronic inflammation in the body, and chronic inflammation in the body leads to chronic disease. And chronic disease is generally the root of premature death, accidents aside. When you don't know your purpose or why you're getting up every day and what the point of your life is, it's likely you'll experience continuous stress. I mean, think about it. It's pretty stressful to always be searching and worrying about whether you're doing the right thing or what you should be doing and how you should be living. Another incredible research example, which connects a sense of purpose and physical health benefits, is the Radical Remission Project, a research project out of UC Berkeley that analyzed over 1,500 cases of radical remission, which is a cancer remission that occurs either without conventional medical treatment or after conventional treatment has failed to work, or when conventional and complementary methods are used in conjunction to overcome a dire prognosis. The radical remission researchers were able to isolate 10 factors that those who experienced radical remission had in common. And one of the 10 was having a strong reason for living. Okay, so now you know that discovering your purpose is a vital part of a healthy, long life, but it's still not an easy task. There are a few different resources aimed at helping you find your life's purpose, but I want to share one from a book I read called How Will You Measure Your Life by Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen. Christensen was known for applying business theories to the arduous yet critical task of achieving fulfillment in your career, relationships, hobbies, in other words, your life. When I first read his book in 2018, I realized that I had set goals and milestones for my business, but I hadn't given my own body, health, and life the same level of attention and commitment. This seemed like a massive oversight to me, given the fact that my life is, well, everything, and my career and my business is just part of it. So I decided to use the exercise in his book to guide my birthday reflections this year. When Christensen sadly died of cancer at age 67 in January 2020, I revisited his book and his exercise. Finding your purpose in life is, of course, very complicated and personal, but I found the exercise in the back of Christensen's book quite helpful. The exercise is aimed at finding your purpose and then ensuring that at least some of your time and activities every day tie back to it. He recommended the following 3-step process for discovering your purpose. We'll be right back with the 3-step process after this quick message. I don't know about you, but I never listen to the end of a podcast, so I'm hopping in here to let you know that the best way to stay empowered and on top of your health is to be in the WellBe community. So head to getwellbe.com/subscribe to make sure you're in like Flynn. On getwellbe.com, you'll learn about our online programs to go deeper and make life-altering changes to your health and our awesome non-toxic product database. If you're more of a social media person, let's be friends on Instagram. Find me at getwellbe. Okay, now back to the 3-step process for discovering your purpose. Number 1, find your likeness. Ask yourself, what would you like to be like? How would you define your ideal you? Answer this question for today, and then in the future, what would the ideal you look like in 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Number 2, make commitments. What actionable commitments do you need to make to achieve your ideal likeness? Make those commitments and have them drive what you will and won't do each day. Number 3, define metrics. Define success and the metrics by which to measure it. Make sure these are concrete and measurable, otherwise they're easy to not use. Now, while I think this exercise was helpful, it might be too much for some people, especially if this is the first time you're really thinking deeply about defining your purpose. If you complete the exercise and write down a whole bunch of things, but feel like you'll never remember what you wrote, let alone live by it, then you may want to try something a little more simple. The simplicity, you see, is important. Blue Zone research shows that those who could articulate a purpose easily had the most health benefits. And that makes sense, right? If you've truly discovered your purpose, you don't need to look at a piece of paper with a long list of things that you'd written to be able to tell someone what it is. Ideally, you can get it into a sentence or two and memorize it. Even more ideally, you don't even need to memorize it because it's so obvious once you discover and define it that you can just say it easily. Most importantly, when you say it, it should make you feel warm and at peace and maybe even smile. If you feel anxiety or like a fraud saying it, it's likely that you wrote down what you want your purpose to be, but it's not your true purpose or you don't believe it. If you feel anxious or like an imposter when you articulate your purpose, it could also mean that you've discovered your true life purpose, but you know you're not living it. Either way, when I first did the exercise in Clayton Christensen's book, what I wrote was long and heartwarming, but I never looked at it again. So now I recommend doing the whole exercise in his book to get the creative juices flowing and answer those 3 simple questions, but then break it down to make it more simple and short. Statements like, be a great mother, or make the planet a cleaner place, or capture the world's beauty in my art, or create peace in my community, are all simple purpose statements you can easily remember. What felt more helpful and less abstract for me in discovering my purpose was to define my strong reason or reasons for living. Whatever that reason is or reasons are could be considered a purpose. So I'll share with you what I came up with for that. When I wake up every day, I have first a young son and another one on the way who depend on me for survival. I have a husband and a partner who needs me for support and help and also love. I have siblings and friends who also need my love and support, and private clients and a community at WellBe asking for my help, guidance, and insight with living holistically and healing chronic health issues. And then besides all the people and relationships in my life, I have a strong desire to see the world in all its different cultures and natural beauty. And since there are many places I have yet to see and experience, I consider this strong desire a strong reason to keep living so I can get out there and see and do it all. Breaking mine down to an even simpler version, my strong reasons for living are my friends, my family, my WellBe community, and work, and seeing the world. An important part of doing this exercise and creating that simple purpose statement is making sure that saying the statement feels good, but don't try to conform your purpose to standards of what you think it should be. Once you've said it a few times and it feels good and authentic and easy to remember and repeat, accept and love your unique reason or set of reasons for living. It doesn't matter how they sound in the context of society or culture or what's expected of you or what you think your purpose should be. It only matters that it feels real and really like you. I encourage you to try this purpose exercise on your next birthday or even right now. There's no time like the present. Whenever you do it, share your results as a review of the podcast. I would absolutely love to hear what your purpose or strong reason for living is now that you've heard mine. To read the written version of this episode with research links, head to getwellbe.com or check out the link to the article in the show notes. And while you're there, definitely become a Wellbe Insider to get our latest content weekly in your inbox. If you haven't already and found this episode helpful or interesting, subscribe to the podcast. This way you'll never miss a new episode and they'll be delivered to you whenever we publish a new one. And please share this episode with family or friends who you think might find it valuable and informative. It means a lot and helps more people find the podcast. And if you love the Get Wellbe podcast, please leave a quick review. It really helps for showing up in search results. If you already have, then thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is your host, Adrienne Nolan-Smith, and thanks again for listening to the Get Wellbe podcast.